Welcome back to another episode of the Planner Suite, where we are back with a What's the Budget episode. We like to give What's the Budget because we want y'all to know real prices in today's time, especially for our brides who are planning weddings in 2025, 2026. We want you to know the average cost of things, if they're overcharging, if they're undercharging. We just want to make sure the people are aware.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm happy about this one because we're in a new area, right? I feel like we've talked about Richmond, we talked about DC, but like
We're going
to
to
Charlotte,
North Carolina.
Yeah.
Cue to Petey Pablo.
North Kakalaki. So Charlotte wedding market. I mean, we have only done one wedding
I've
in
only
Charlotte.
done one, yeah.
Yeah, I've only done one wedding in Charlotte, but I mean, from this planning search, I will say with this bride, we did all of the venue search for her. So with that being said, like contacting venues, seeing price points, am I seeing a difference in price in Charlotte versus the DMV area? Not with venue. I think that's pretty much standard across the board, especially if you're going to a wedding venue. Now, I will say this. A lot of people who were like in the comments that were like, yeah, I did my wedding for 10,000. I did my wedding for 15,000. I looked at your wedding.
Amy, all right.
I'm not saying this in a bad way. There's a difference between a wedding venue and a regular venue. And you're able to get away with going to a venue that might just be like a room.
Like a hotel.
Or yeah, like
where you don't pipe and drape it.
Yeah, you don't pipe and drape it. Or you're going to a storefront and then you're having and I'm sure it's beautiful in that space. But there's different things that change the prices to get. And I'm not trying to be mean. Some of them was very beautiful. Very, very beautiful. But I will say
Amy said you were a little hole in the wall.
No, I didn't say that. Okay.
So but I do want to highlight that Charlotte, if you equate it to like Richmond and DC, Charlotte is like the city of North Carolina.
Yeah. So like, okay, so Richmond is the Raleigh.
Richmond be the Raleigh, yeah.
And then Charlotte
would be the DC.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And then one thing I can say is they have like a lot of really unique venues in Charlotte, a lot of rooftop venues. I think Charlotte is a vibe.
It is.
I do.
Do I like the traffic? No.
I don't know if I was there long enough for the traffic. But yeah, I think Charlotte is a vibe. A lot of really great places to get married. A
lot of good outdoor spaces too.
Yeah, definitely. And great places to take photos.
Yes.
Yeah, we had great photos from this one. With this budget, did you already say how many people?
I did not. No.
Okay.
120 people.
Okay.
This budget is for 120 people. Charlotte, North Carolina, a $65K budget.
Yeah. So with this one, I will also say that things were removed from this budget early on when we noticed what the price points cost for a lot of things. Okay?
This was a couple that they had a budget and they wanted to stick with it.
Yeah, it was I'm not going to say it was annoying.
Amy, no, that's when people have budgets and they want to stick to it. That's good.
Yeah, but I also think that realistically, there was a lot of things that she wanted that she was mad she could not get because of her budget, but she was mad at us.
That's okay.
And I didn't make the prices.
Yeah. Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes brides have that, and you just may have to pout for a little bit, but you make the final decision of, okay, am I going to adjust this budget or am I going to stick to it and just be mad for a day or two?
And she was going to stick to it and she was just mad.
Yeah. Okay. Sometimes that's the case.
Okay. One thing I really love about this budget is that some of the prices are higher in different areas. Okay. So one thing I will say is that we're taking the planner out of this budget completely. No planner she had a planner, but the planner was paid for by someone else. Stationery. Okay. Let's get into it. She paid $530.82 just for her reception stationery. So
tell us what that included. Bar menu,
welcome sign, gifts and card sign,
menus on the
charger plates.
She also had name cards.
Yeah, she has
Mm-hmm.
she had the place cards, and then she paid $800 for a big seating chart, like one of
Mm-hmm.
those big dramatic seating charts.
Like
Uh,
a built one, not like a acrylic or a um, foam
yeah,
board.
foam board,
It
like it
was
was
like wood sturdy.
wood sturdy
Mm-hmm.
with like lamps on it,
A custom
engagement
built.
photos, yeah,
Yeah.
custom built. And then for invitation, she spent $2,304.50, which is more than typical.
Yeah. Were
She
they acrylic?
they were,
No. Oh,
yeah.
they were. Okay.
They
Okay.
were. They were
Okay.
acrylic. They were acrylic invitations. Got them off of Etsy.
Mm-hmm.
Also have an Etsy link with all of our favorite vendors on it. So definitely
Mm-hmm.
check our link for that. But she spent $3,635.32 on all of her stationery items. For her venue, she spent $42,002 on her all of her venue cost, and she's
But all inclusive.
all inclusive. So that
Mm-hmm.
was bar, alcohol,
Food,
food.
cake.
Oh yeah, they added the cake. Oh, that was
Yeah.
a nice feature with
I
that.
like that. I've never seen a venue do that, but I was very impressed that the
Yeah.
cake was included. And it was a beautiful cake.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
They worked with what she wanted. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like, oh, you just get this 3-tier buttercream.
Plain
Like,
white.
yeah,
Yeah.
they worked with what she wanted. What else did they gave her? Tables?
Mm-hmm. We outsourced chairs just because the bride and groom wanted a different look, but they did include chairs,
Yeah, yeah.
linens.
Yeah, they included
Yes.
linens. They included all of her china,
Mm-hmm.
like her glassware, all of that stuff. So she didn't have to rent any of that,
Right.
which was good. And they had like a charger plate that they offered, like a standard
Mm-hmm.
charger plate, which is always good when getting married at like that. This is what I was saying, a wedding venue. They're giving
Mm-hmm.
you all of these items to really full circle pull it together.
Mm-hmm.
I also think they gave her like cylinder vases or something, but I don't think that we
We didn't
used
use
them.
them.
We didn't use
Yeah.
them.
But they had the option. I
Yeah.
really liked that venue was all inclusive like that.
Yeah, yeah. This was a hotel venue. So like
Mm-hmm.
they also stayed in the location, so they
Right.
eliminated transportation, things like that. Now for decor, she spent $12,502.45. She went all artificial for
Mm-hmm.
the most part, outside of her bouquet and like
Mm-hmm.
boutonnieres and things like that, but still really beautiful because she had a very beautiful venue space.
Mm-hmm.
So in total, with her venue and decor, because we merged those in her budget, she spent $54,504.45.
I think it's important to note that you said she had a space that was already beautiful, so you did not have to do too much. That's really important, especially when you have a budget that you want to stick to, is that it's like, okay, if this budget is this price, let me choose a place where I don't have to do as much. Like the space already speaks for itself.
Yeah.
And then she also opted for the artificial flowers,
Yeah.
which that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, a huge difference. And her florals were beautiful. I mean, she still had a floor wrap and things
Right.
like that, but yeah. And then for an officiant, she didn't have to pay for one. It was a pastor from her church. I don't know if she gave a donation, but she did not have to pay for that. Her videographer was $1,999. That was the price. I don't think there was any. That was just the price.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we know it's low.
Yeah.
We know it's low. We already know. That's why Amy's saying that. So
yeah, we're moving on. That was just the price. Her DJ charged $1,000 for the DJ services for ceremony, cocktail, and reception.
Now let's note this was a family friend.
Yeah.
So we know that price is low.
Yeah.
Don't eat us up in the comments.
She did not have to do transportation, but she did take care of hair and makeup for everybody.
Well, let's talk about the transportation. She didn't do transportation because she chose a space where she could stay.
Yeah.
So that just made things easier. Her guests were there, her family was there, she was there, her husband was there, we were there, wedding planners were there. It just made it easy for everyone.
Yeah.
So that cut that cost out altogether.
Completely. Okay. And then she did take care of makeup for everybody. And that came up to $1,610, which honestly is about average for
7.
Yeah,
7
for
girls?
makeup for that much
Yeah.
people, like that's about average. So that's good. It was not an all day service for the bride. So she got her makeup done. The makeup artist left. Like she didn't stay. She didn't do touch ups, nothing like that. So in total, photography was gifted. All her photography was gifted, and she had great
What a blessing.
photographers. Like she had good, like Instagram worthy photographers.
What a blessing.
So
Y'all ask your people to help you.
ask your people to help
I can't
you.
stress it enough.
Photography was a non-negotiable for her, but she was able to get that gifted. So that worked out in her favor. So in total, this wedding in Charlotte was $65,928.77. Her dress was gifted as well, like their attire and stuff was gifted. So she didn't have to worry about adding that to the budget.
I hope she tell the Lord thank you. I
think she do.
Tell the Lord thank you. For someone to gift you a dress and photography, thank you, Lord, on her behalf from me.
So, okay, Whitney. And then I would say the biggest thing of her budget was her venue and decor took up $54,000. And honestly, I just want to put this in perspective to you guys watching this is like, it took up about 80% of her budget. 80% of her budget went to her venue and decor.
But we also said how much it included.
Yeah, it did include a lot of stuff, but it's just something to take into perspective. So I know weddings add up and there's a lot of different things, but if you pick the right space, you know, a lot of times they can offer a lot of the things you need.
But also her venue was a non-negotiable too, right?
It was. She did.
Yeah.
And there was other venues that were on the table as well, but it just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense with the aesthetic, the photos, and all of the different things.
And she was familiar with the area. She was in love with that space. And I guess it was just one of those things where, like, you see it all the time when you're from that area. That's where you want to get married. So it was kind of a non-negotiable for her.
I want to bring something to the table right now. We haven't talked about this, but I want us to start telling people how long they plan for their wedding.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good because a lot of people are always like, how are they paying for this? And I always say, if you spread out your engagement, you can do payment plans. Right. I am an advocate for a payment plan. Like, take your time because a little $500 here and there hits a whole lot different than $10,000 at one time. Please put me on that payment plan.
Absolutely. So, I mean, this bride, I want to say like she started a year and a half before, but didn't get serious until it was like maybe a year and 3 months.
Yeah.
So like we had already had like conversations with the venue, but we never pulled the trigger. And they did some life things.
Yeah, I was going to say
bought
it was
a
little
house
bit of pause
and things like that. And then they came back and they started the process again. Yeah.
And that's another good point. Like, life is going to happen. Take some breaks, take some pauses. Like, don't let wedding planning stress you out.
Yeah, this isn't like the 1900s anymore. You don't have to like get engaged and then 6 months later you have to be married. I don't know. There's this whole thing of like you
rushing.
You should be married within a year of the engagement, you know? And I don't think that that's really, you have to do what's right for you.
How long was your engagement?
2 years.
Okay, so that's what I would imagine for me too.
I got engaged during COVID, like the thick of COVID. So like we didn't really know, and it's funny you bring this up because I want to rant about this. I got engaged during COVID, and then we were like, oh, what's happening with weddings? But I knew it was going to be expensive because I was already in the industry. And I knew the type of expensive it was about to be. I needed time to get to that space, even though I will say we had a lot of help. Like, a lot of help. Like when I say I went to the investors, I went to the investors early, and I was like, "What it do?" Because if it does not do, then we not going to do the way you want us to do. You know,
you're gonna do like our viewers and go to the courthouse.
Exactly, exactly. So, but I've been wanting to rant about this for a while, and this is a little off subject, but I will say this: the COVID era of brides, the 2020, the 2021, the 2022 brides, and a little 2023 brides have changed the industry forever. Our prices were not the same. They were not the same. I'm not saying that vendors were not charging enough, right? But they definitely were not adding the premium on top of premium on top of premium. Right. We have set trends. We have changed things. We had walked into ballrooms and said, hey, we didn't want carpet. and we put white carpet all over that bitch. Like, it was to the point, no, we have changed the market.
Yeah.
Brides in that era were going viral weekly because we were coming up with stuff, and vendors were in a lull during COVID, and they were like, oh, we're back to work. We're doing this. Let's do it. Let's create the best
tested
content.
your creativity. Yeah.
Yeah, let's put out the best content. So I was engaged for 2 years, but I was engaged during that weird era of booking vendors that it was like everyone was really excited to also get back to work. No one was selling themselves short. I still paid $2,000 for hair, $2,000 for makeup, but the content and things that were going out and the things that we were bringing to the table was just so different than it is today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
COVID stretched y'all.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then there's also the option of like maybe you want to do a smaller wedding. I mean, the people are always in our comments like courthouse, courthouse, courthouse. Go to the courthouse, you know, sign your certificate and just have it with y'all, maybe your parents, and then have the big wedding later. I know I toy with that idea all the time because I don't like people to know a lot about me, but then also it's like I like to have fun. So it's like I would like to have that private ceremony with me and my husband and our parents. And then it's like, surprise, like, you know, we're going to have a big wedding. But we've been married before. Y'all didn't know.
Right. I wanted to get married right away.
Really?
I did.
And what changed that?
My husband did not want that.
So you wanted to go to the courthouse?
I did. I wanted to go to the courthouse because 2 years was a lot of time. And as a woman, you start to think about, I don't even know if this is the show for this, but as a woman, you start to think about like starting a family and all of the things. And you're getting
eager. You want to do that.
You're getting older. But then again, it's like, I want to pop out a baby before my 2 years is up.
Then my parents looking at me crazy.
Yeah, like me and Nathan, we're like we did everything right. We got married, we got engaged, we got married in the Catholic church. Then we got to start a family. So I was a little worried about that piece a little bit. But yeah, I would have been 4 years into marriage right now.
Yeah.
You know, almost 5 years. Like, I feel like I was married.
You could have done that and not told anybody.
Well, your partner has to buy in too, so. But yeah,
you gotta
I love that.
You have to pull out the tears. Pull out the tears, y'all.
I don't know if you know my husband, but I don't know if the tears would have worked. But I will say I love that idea. Getting married, then doing something later. It allows you to build with each other and things like that.
Help you establish yourself a bit more.
Yeah. And I try and like check in with my couples and stuff like later and stuff to like see how they are and things like that. But I don't know. I know marriage is not easy. It's hard. And having that year, I know that wedding planning puts a lot on couples as well, you know? And I'm not a therapist or anything like that, but
I'm not even married, so I don't even know what to tell y'all when y'all arguing in meetings. Yeah.
With these budgets and you know, doing all of these things. So like any way that you guys can kind of figure it out. But I love that piece of, you know, getting married a year before and then maybe a year or two later doing that big wedding or reception. And I know people who tell people and still go have the wedding after. So it's whatever your preference is.
Definitely, for sure. Do what works for you. Yeah. We cannot stress that enough here in the Planner Suite. Do what works for you when it comes to how you plan your wedding, how you build out your budget, how you want your wedding to look, the vibe. Do what works for you. So that is the best advice that we can give any couple here in the Planner Suite. As always, follow us, subscribe to us, comment, like, share with someone, and meet us right back here in the Planner Suite.